Welcome back to the City Current Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And we love talking about Best Buddies of Tennessee. We are joined by their Deputy Director, Programs and Operations, Morgan Tansey. How are you doing, Morgan?
Great, thanks. How are you, Jeremy?
Doing very well. You do a lot of good when you talk about Best Buddies. And so statewide effort in terms of what we're going to talk about on your end, but give us a little bit of history. When you talk about Best Buddies and specifically Best Buddies of Tennessee, give us some history and context.
Yeah, so Best Buddies, we are a global volunteer movement that creates opportunities for one-to-one friendships, integrated employment, and leadership development, specifically for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Best Buddies was started in 1989 by Anthony Kennedy Shriver at Georgetown University. His family has a long history of supporting individuals with disabilities and just the disability community. And this was a natural fit for what they are already doing through Special Olympics and some of their other work. So Best Buddies focuses on friendship specifically. We do have jobs in leadership development, but it initially started as a way to address social isolation for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We've been in Tennessee for, I think, since the early 2000s, have locations across the state, Memphis, Nashville, East Tennessee, and Chattanooga, and are continually growing our programs.
A big part of what you all do is focused on schools and partnership with schools. And as you mentioned, one-on-one friendships is really critical, but talk about working with the schools and let's kind of start diving into the programs.
Yeah, of course. So our school-based programs are from pre-K all the way through college. We have about 95 school chapters across the state of Tennessee. And a wide variety, whether that is a charter school, a traditional public school, a private school, we can really fit our chapters to meet the needs of the school communities. The general principle is that we're matching individuals on campus who have a disability. So oftentimes students in a functional skills setting, or maybe like a Next Steps at Vanderbilt, Tiger Life at University of Memphis, with students on campus that do not have a disability. They're matched in one-to-one friendships. The chapter does a chapter activity once a month, and it's just giving students the opportunity to come together in a fun, like low-key, not structured setting, and gives them the opportunity to build friendships. What we know is that oftentimes students with disabilities are ostracized on campus. Maybe they don't even really get the opportunity to push out of their special education classrooms throughout the day, let alone build friendships. And so our programs address that need and just giving people the opportunity to come together in a fun social setting.
And that's the part to me that I love is it's breaking down the stereotypes, it's forming friendships and bonds and really showing that we all have abilities. And it's really cool to see people shine when you start pouring into them. And it just opens up the floodgates in so many cool ways to bring the community together. And share a little bit on your end when you talk about the monthly activities, when you talk about some of the things that the friends get a chance to do. And when you talk about being best buddies, kind of paint the picture of some of the activities and the ways that individuals are coming together to create these friendships.
Yeah, so each month the chapter has a structured activity that the chapter is putting on, and structured is just kind of like organized. Maybe that's they're tapping into like a school sporting event that's already happening on campus, or once a week they're doing reading buddies or math buddies where students are coming together during the school day and working together. Or some of our classrooms will do like cooking Fridays, and the typical students will go in and work and partner with our students with disabilities. It could be going bowling on the weekends. Some chapters do like a sports themed day. They utilize recess. Really capitalizing on times during the school day that might be an easy fit to bring students together, and then offering some opportunities outside of the school day as well to do things like go to a movie, go bowling, just meet up at the park. Again, giving students who may not have the opportunities to interact throughout the school day an opportunity to build a friendship. Because we do know not only do those students who are in special education feel isolated or not have the opportunity to make friends, on the other side, a lot of typical peers have a lot of misconceptions or assumptions about individuals with disabilities. So it's mutually beneficial in addressing both of those needs. The beauty about the program, regardless of what age group we're supporting, is that schools have a lot of freedom within a framework. We might give some guidance on what activities might look like, but schools know their communities best, schools know their students best, and they have the freedom to really create chapter activities based on what works for them, what part of the school day that is, what's available in their communities, and just different things that fit their needs specifically.
When you look at a school or individuals at the school saying, hey, I want this at our school, how does that process start? How do we get more schools involved?
Yeah, great question. We are always hoping to expand our schools across the state. And really, it just takes a really motivated and interested student to maybe bring this to campus, or an educator or staff member. Every chapter does need approval from school administration before we open officially the chapter. And then from there, we work with the school or whoever's interested, whether that be a student or a teacher, in identifying just the other chapter leaders. At the high school and college level, there needs to be a chapter president, which is a student, and an advisor. And then at the elementary and middle school level, it's really advisor driven, and we work to maybe identify some parent volunteers as well. But I think that our biggest success in bringing schools to campuses, especially new schools, is just having interest within the school community.
Talk about the Citizens program.
Yeah, so Citizens is our adult friendship program. That's for anyone 18 and up who maybe is not participating in a college chapter or has aged out of a high school chapter. It operates very similarly to the school-based chapters, but our office kind of acts as like the chapter host for activities and the matching process. But participants apply, they would complete a quick background check, answer some questions about their interests, just what they like to do in their free time. And then as an office, we work on matching people based on similar age range, same gender. Again, those shared interests are really important. And location. Of course, we don't want people to have to drive all over town to meet their match or have to spend time with them. And then we match them. We do some check-ins monthly in the beginning, just to make sure, like, how are things going? Do you feel like it's a good match? We do our best to match based on those characteristics and to have a really successful match. And sometimes it's just not successful. And so we support our participants in making sure we are finding them a good fit in the program, and then hosting some activities for them. From an office standpoint, that might be look like, okay, we're all going to meet up as a Citizens program and go bowling. We've taken advantage of the Love It Shell or Musicians Corner in Nashville, and just tapping into community events that are already happening that we can attend as a group and as a community.
What's been the feedback? Because obviously you have a chance to see and get this feedback of just how amazing this is on both sides of the equation. So what's been the feedback either from the youth or the adults or both that you've been able to see in terms of what this means to them?
Yeah, a lot of feedback is just fills my cup up. It's the reason why I do this job. And recently we had a student who shared that his involvement with the high school chapter just literally changed his life. He went from not really having friends or not feeling like he had a lot to look forward to throughout the school year, that typical school events didn't really feel inviting to him. And then he got involved with the Best Buddies chapter at his high school, was matched in a one-to-one friendship. And now he says he has a best friend. He has someone to go to those typical high school activities with, and he has something to look forward to. And I think the biggest takeaway from his feedback was that not only am I enjoying my high school experience now, I'm thinking what's beyond high school, like what's there for me when I graduate and when my match does go to college. Like, what can I do and what can I pursue? Is that a post-secondary program? Is that just getting involved with Citizens and keeping my involvement in the programs? And his feedback was just so positive. And on the other end, we hear from peers that they got into this program, they're just looking to maybe volunteer their time, and now they have a lifelong friend. We have people who have shared that, they've made a match and now that person's in their wedding, or that person is meeting their children, and they've been involved with the program for years and years, and that's the goal.
Very, very cool. Talk about on your end what the pandemic has done, and obviously how you've been able to kind of navigate through. And as we're coming out of this, what does the future hold on your end?
Yeah, the pandemic hit Best Buddies Tennessee pretty hard. We had to downsize significantly as far as staff goes, and I think that has had a large impact on our programs and just our day-to-day, what we're able to do and what we're able to offer our participants. From a participant standpoint, that means less events. That means a lot of in-person things had to transition to virtual, which we know virtual activities don't work for everyone, especially individuals with disabilities, whether that means the space is too overstimulating, maybe they have, communication needs, and virtual just doesn't work for them. So it's been navigating a lot of that. The positive is that coming out of the pandemic, we've had kind of an increase in interest from peers because they want to give back and they feel like they've missed out on that over the last few years. And we're starting to be able to offer more in-person activities. But a lot of school chapters closed just due to not being able to participate, like have school activities on campus. So I use this phrase, kayaking nimble. We have to be kayaking nimble. We've had to adjust our outreach and what we're able to offer participants. And we know now that we have a need. We have buddies who've been on the wait list for years. We have people that are waiting to get engaged with our programs. And so hitting that volunteer recruitment pretty hard right now and just trying to get people connected to our programs.
Yeah, ramping back up. And I agree. I mean, getting those connections going and the ability to then host events is huge. So I love it. Speaking of hosting events, you do have big events and opportunities to plug in, including one on May 1st. Talk about that event and just in general ways that the community can start getting involved.
Yeah, so the event on May 1st is our Friendship Walk. We are so excited. It's our first community-wide in-person event since fall 2019. And we can't wait to get back to in-person and seeing our schools, seeing our citizens participants, just seeing community members come together on May 1st from 1 to 4 p.m. at Montgomery Bell Academy in Nashville. Again, the event is open to the community, so anyone is welcome to attend. You can just register on our website, which is bestbuddiesfriendshipwalk.org/Nashville. And we, again, are just so excited to see people in person, to get that community feel back, and just hit the ground running with some in-person events. As far as getting involved with our programs, we are always recruiting peer volunteers for citizens, and we are always looking to expand our school programs, whether that means a parent, a student, an educator is interested in opening a program at their school. And really, you can just reach out to Tennessee at bestbuddies.org, send us an email, let us know what you're interested in, and we're happy to get you the resources, schedule time to meet with you, and get you connected to whatever program you might be interested in.
Go ahead and you mentioned it throughout a little bit, but dive in a little bit deeper on the commitment. When you talk about especially, being a citizen and tying in, talk about what that commitment looks like. I know you mentioned you've got the organized activities, you've got the one-on-one time, but what does that overall commitment look like?
For citizens, we quantify it as about 2 to 4 hours monthly with your match. So whether you're coming to an office sponsored or Best Buddies Tennessee sponsored event, or you're spending time with your match, just doing whatever you want to do in the community, whether that's going to lunch, going to the park, tapping into a community event that you're interested in, going to a movie. The beauty about citizens is that you really have the freedom, the matches have the freedom to just do whatever they want every month. We use that 2 to 4 hours as a guide, and then that they communicate on a weekly basis, whether that's texting, on the phone, via social media, whatever works for that buddy pair. So again, a lot of flexibility within a framework. We will check in monthly, at least, initially a lot, like every month we'll be checking in, how are things going? And as things keep getting more comfortable with the buddy pair, we will just remove some of that support and make sure, okay, now maybe every other month touch points. And then as they continue to just be in the program, if they do make it a year, which a year seems like a long time, but if a citizens pair makes it a year, they're considered established. We don't necessarily reach out to them as frequently. They are always welcome to tap into what we have going on event-wise.
Nice. What's something else that you wish everyone knew about Best Buddies of Tennessee?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. I think that, if you're interested and you want to get involved, we'll find a way for you to get involved. We'll make it a fit. Yes, we have structured programs and we have different things that we can offer, but we want people to be involved and we want to be creative about how you can get involved. If you have a strength, if you have something you want to bring to the table, just reach out and let us know. People can host virtual yoga. People can be a point volunteer for an event, whether that is meeting at the Levitt Shell or that is tapping into Third Coast Clay Pottery. We partner with a lot of community events. Sometimes we have people who are interested. We just don't have the manpower. If you want to get involved, we'll find a place for you to do it.
Yeah. And I think, just once again, built around the higher purpose of connecting people and breaking down those barriers and showing that we all have massive ability and that we're all very similar. And I think the more we bring each other together, the more that light shines so bright, and you make it very, very easy, back to that higher purpose, to get involved and to create these friendships that, as you mentioned, can last a lifetime. So very, very powerful. Wrap up on your end with contact information, website, social media. Where would you direct us all to go to learn more about Best Buddies of Tennessee?
Yeah, easy. Google, if you just want to Google Best Buddies Tennessee, our website will pop up. You can email us at tennessee@bestbuddies.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. So you can always just search Best Buddies Tennessee, and we'll get in contact with you.
Well, Morgan, greatly appreciate all you and your amazing team do. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much.